Hey friends, welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday. In this video, I'm going to give you an update on how my dairy-free experiment is going, as well as an update on how my alternating lean and higher fat keto days is going. So I have been dairy-free now for almost 2 weeks, which is crazy to me. I have never given up dairy and had it be this easy. I think the difference going dairy-free this time is that I am already eating low-carb keto and I don't have any other cravings. I don't have like sugar cravings or anything like that. Like my craving level is super low. Also, I'm prioritizing protein, and whenever I prioritize protein, I have found that my cravings just are gone. So I think other times that I've given up dairy, I was still eating some forms of sugar or carbs that were fueling some cravings, and then also I wasn't eating enough protein to really satisfy my protein needs. So I would have cravings for dairy when it was really more protein that I was needing. So I'm really happy with how the dairy-free thing is going, and I'm planning on continuing. It's going so well, and I feel, freed of something that I felt like it was going to be really hard to give up, that I didn't know if I could give up. And so that just feels really good, kind of like a weight off my shoulders. Not to say that I'll never add dairy back, but it just feels good to kind of be free of it and to recognize that I'm okay without it. I did have a couple weird symptoms come up that seemed to be related to going dairy-free, because it was before I started the lean fat days. And just because of the timing, it seemed like it fit that it was because of giving up dairy. The first one, and this will probably be too much information for some people, but some UTI symptoms. And that's not something that I have dealt with for years. There was a time in the past where I was probably like 15 years ago where I had some reoccurring UTIs, and that was when I was first coming off sugar, when I was first going onto the Atkins diet. My body was clearing up a lot of stuff, and I struggled with UTIs for quite a while, and I was in the cycle, the conventional medicine cycle, where I would be having pain and I would go to the doctor and they'd give me an antibiotic, I'd take it, it would get better for a couple of days, pain would come back, go back to the doctor, get another thing of antibiotics, and it just makes me sick to think about how many times I did that and the damage that those antibiotics did. But thankfully I was working at a health food store at the time, and that is New Seasons Market for those of you in the Pacific Northwest. And I went to the wellness manager of our store and asked her if she had any advice for something I could take for UTI issues, and she directed me to D-Mannose, which is a type of sugar similar to allulose actually, in that it doesn't get absorbed by your body as sugar, but what it does is it attracts bad bacteria in your bladder and it can flush out bad bacteria. I've heard it described as the same type of mechanism that cranberry juice has, and how it's good for the urinary tract system, but that it's like 1,000 times stronger than cranberry juice. And when you're drinking cranberry juice, you're drinking actual sugar with it, so that can make some of the symptoms worse, even though there are some good things about cranberry juice. So when you take D-Mannose, your body doesn't absorb it as sugar at all. It just flushes right through and it takes bad bacteria out of your bladder. And I started taking that, and I would take it multiple times a day, and I could feel it working like within the amount of time it took for me to need to go to the bathroom again. It was so powerful, and that was one of the first experiences that I had where I was clued into the idea that maybe conventional wisdom and conventional medicine doesn't have all the answers, and maybe I shouldn't just run to my doctor every time I feel sick for another prescription of antibiotics. And it was so eye-opening that this natural, super natural, not supernatural, but super natural remedy was actually more effective than the prescription drugs that I was getting from my doctor. It was totally a lifesaver for me back then. I used it for quite a long time. I say quite a long time, but like a few months. And then since then, I've had no urinary tract issues at all. And so that's why with the timing of these symptoms coming up, I was like, it's gotta be in relation to the dairy, because I just don't have these symptoms any other time. And I don't know if my body was, working through like yeast. I know that dairy can feed yeast overgrowth and different things like that. So maybe my body was just clearing some things out. And it only lasted maybe 2.5 days. And I took my D-Mannose and that helped. And for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, I've been totally fine. So that definitely cleared up. The other thing I noticed that's just totally random, and maybe it's not related to the dairy, but the timing worked out, is that I started having more vivid dreams. I was having dreams before, and they were just, happy dreams that I usually didn't remember all of or didn't remember at all. Just remembered that I had had a dream, but couldn't remember what it was. But in the last week or so, I've been having more vivid dreams and remembering them more. I don't know if that means anything, but it's something I noticed. So overall, with the no dairy, I'm feeling really good. I can't say that there's been like some groundbreaking, incredible difference, but I do feel good. I feel like my brain is unclouded. I feel healthy. There's no negatives. And I'm feeling like on the good side of how I normally feel. Like if I have a range of days I feel not as good, days I feel really good, I'm like at the high end of the feeling good range. Okay, so now on to my experiment with alternating lean and fat days. So right now I am on my 3rd cycle of lean fat days. I started with a lean day on October 1st, and so I did lean day, fat day, and then lean day, fat day. And the second lean day, fat day cycle that I did, I actually did videos of what I ate on both of those days, and that video is gonna come out soon, possibly tomorrow. I'll have to check my schedule. And then now I am on the 3rd lean day, fat day cycle. So on my very first lean day on October 1st, I felt really good, which was surprising because anytime I've cut down my calories, I feel really bad for a while. And I actually think there are 2 things that have helped me with the transition to lowering calories on certain days. And the first of those 2 things is giving up dairy. I think that helped my cravings just come down a notch, and I'm just feeling more satisfied with the foods that I'm eating without dairy. I think dairy can stimulate appetite sometimes, and I think just having that out of my system has made it just easier to eat less. Second thing I think is helping me with the transition to eating less is electrolytes. I think I have struggled a lot with electrolyte imbalance in the past when I've tried different diet tweaks and different lower calorie days, like different cycling in lower calorie days or intermittent fasting. I've struggled with intermittent fasting so much, and it was so frustrating because I would hear people talk about how incredible it was, and just after a few days I don't feel hungry and blah blah blah. Never was like that for me. And I really do think a lot of it was electrolyte related because I would get the lightheaded, dizzy feelings when I was hungry. It wasn't just that I felt like I needed food, it's that I had those lightheaded feelings and just felt off. So because I've been taking my electrolyte drink very consistently for quite some time now, and I'm taking it consistently throughout the day as I'm doing my lean days and fat days, I think that has helped me a lot. And then I guess there's 3 things I should throw in there. The third thing that I think is really helping me is the fact that I am focused on protein. It's a reoccurring theme, I know. Other times when I have tried to cycle in lower calorie days, I simply was not eating enough protein. I have had the experience before of like trying to go to bed when I'm hungry after I've eaten all of my allotted calories and like dreaming of protein and like going to the fridge and eating like a cold burger patty out of the fridge because I just desperately needed protein, and I hadn't made that connection before, that it was the protein that I was craving and needing so badly. So with this, I am eating lower calorie on the lean days, but I'm focusing so much on protein that my body's protein needs are met, and it's making the lower calorie days so much easier, like shockingly easier. I was worried that I'd be struggling with getting enough sleep after a lean day because I don't sleep well when I'm hungry, but I haven't been hungry, so I have been sleeping actually really well. So that hasn't been an issue at all. My first higher fat day, when I woke up in the morning, I was extra hungry, and so I just made sure to have a big breakfast, and I ate until I was full, and then the rest of the day I felt like I was, you know, back to normal. I didn't have increased hunger for the whole day. So I kind of expected that to be the pattern, where on the higher fat days I would just be hungry in the morning and eat more in the morning. But then on my second higher fat day, I was hardly hungry at all in the morning, and I actually ate a really tiny breakfast, and I was still fine for the rest of the day. So that hasn't been a pattern. That must have been just adjusting. And now overall I just feel good, and my appetite feels very balanced. Then on my second lean day, I will say it was even easier than the first one, which was kind of shocking. When I've gone on lower calorie plans, it's like you do a few days and then it's like the hunger starts building and cravings start building, and you can only go so long. But with this, I believe it's because I'm prioritizing protein, I'm taking my electrolytes, and possibly because I'm dairy free, I'm getting all of my needs met. My body seems to be in a happy place, so I'm not creating those imbalances that I've experienced before on different plans. So that's how I'm doing. It's all good news, I guess. Everything's going fine. Oh, and I did want to mention that I weighed myself. I weighed myself before I started dairy free, and then I weighed myself again before I started the lean and fat days, because I wanted to get an idea of all that. So I weighed myself before dairy free. I was 165.1 or 0.2, point something. And then when I started the dairy free on October 1st, I was 162 point something. And so I lost around 2.5 to 3 pounds, something like that. And that was only in 5 days of going dairy free. So I do think that I lost some inflammation there. It's nothing groundbreaking. I mean, I've been kind of between 162 and 167 for the past 2 years, ever since I weaned Levi. And so I'm not excited yet because I've seen these numbers before 1,000 times. I just kind of bounce, you know, in that range. And so once I kind of get below that, that's when I'll be like, oh yeah, something is happening. This really is working. So, but still, it was nice to see that those few pounds went away, and it was probably inflammation from dairy. I'm not sure when I'll weigh again. I don't know if I'll wait till all the way till the end of October, maybe every couple weeks. I don't know, but weighing is not something I'm excited about, so I don't do it very often. Just information whenever I feel like I need that information. I think that's all I have to update you guys on. Look for a video coming soon, perhaps tomorrow, of 2 days worth of eating, 1 lean day and 1 fat day. In that video, I will include my macros. I actually counted, which is painful. I hate having to count and calculate all that, but I did do that for the videos. So you can see that coming soon, and I will be back again next week to let you know how another week has gone. Hope you guys are doing great. Let's chat down in the comments. I'd love to hear what's working for you and how you guys are doing on your journeys, whatever that may be. And I will see you again in another video.